Welcome to Using Your Teacher Voice, Episode 9. Today I want to talk about building your Twitter brand, really building your social media brand. I talked about this at the Indiana Connected Educators Conference in Indianapolis in October, and it was titled Building Your Twitter Brand back then. Um, but the lessons here, the ideas here, really could apply to most all social media platforms. So I'll share them with you there. You can apply them, see how they apply to your situation, and how you are using social media in your professional life, your classroom, or in your school. So, at the risk of sounding obvious, um, the first thing to be thinking of when you are looking at getting on social media or using social media, the first thing to be thinking about is, what is your purpose? And I know that sounds, obvious, but it really is a starting point, and it really does impact most of the rest of the decisions that you make getting started. For instance, do you want your social media to be a megaphone for the school, sending out news and information and announcements? Or is it more of a way for you to build a professional learning network, to connect with other educators, other people in your field, to gain support, to gain inspiration? Because what happens is once you decide what your purpose is, what you want to accomplish by getting on social media, then you have to start thinking about, or it then leads you to think about, who's your audience? Who's going to be, who am I connecting with? Who do I want connecting with me? And then where's the best place to find those people? And then how do I tailor my content toward their needs? For instance, if you are looking to, to be the spokes piece for the school, the school's official social presence. Then you have to think about, well, my audience is going to be parents. Where are my parents at? Well, primarily, my parents are going to be on Facebook. That's a place where I need to be to reach them and reach out to them. Um, if it is like I want to build my social, my professional learning network, I want to connect with other educators and connect with people that can help me grow professionally. Twitter is the best place for that. So many educators are now on Twitter and using Twitter. What about if I want to showcase student work? If I want to, highlight the good things that are going on in the school and the things that the kids are doing? Then maybe Instagram, nice place to really control who has access to stuff. So maybe then I post it there. I use my Facebook or my Twitter to push people there. Or maybe I use Facebook in a way to show some of that work. But whatever the goal is, then you start tailoring your other pieces to meet that goal. The next thing to think about is the content and what are you going to be putting out there. Again, we go back to that idea of what is your goal. What kinds of things are you wanting to put out there? How often are you need to be putting it out there? How often does your audience expect that information to be put out there? If I'm wanting longer pieces, Facebook is better than Twitter. Twitter is great for announcements and making quick kinds of things. Again, you just have to tailor their content toward your purpose and your audience. A couple things about content. The first is, it really is the reason people will connect to you. Um, Outside of celebrities, few people connect to a social network just for the fun of it. Normally, they're there to get something. They're looking for some information. They're looking for something that is beneficial to them, something that they appreciate, that they like, or that they need. Content drives people toward your network, and that's very important. That's very important. Because if you're not providing what they're looking for, what they're expecting, then they're going to go somewhere else. Then I think the other part about content is it really is your digital face. It shows people who and what you are. If I get a friend request from somebody and I'm not familiar with them, I'm going to go look at their feeds. I'm going to go look at their statuses. I'm going to go look at, what are they tweeting out or what are they favoriting and liking. Who are they connecting to and who's connecting to them. I'm going to look at those things and see, are those things that match my needs and expectations. Um, when you think about um, that digital face, okay, that also goes back to that, you know, what is your role? What is your expectation? What is your goal with your social media use? If I am going to be the official social outlet for my school, then I would expect that all the information that is on that feed that comes from that source is specific to the school, is relevant to the school, is specific to the needs of that audience. But if it's more of a personal thing, like my personal Twitter account, um, you're going to see, you might see some more things, on a wider range of topics and issues. If you look at my Twitter feed, for instance, I have a lot of stuff about, education, technology, things in that area. I also have a lot of things that happen in my school, a lot of shout outs, a lot of announcements, sports scores, things like that. And then you find some random things that are appealing to me or interesting to me and some of my followers or some people that I connect with. Just the other day, I sent out a nerd poster about use the Force, Harry, said Gandalf, titled, Does This Bother You? So I don't think that you have to limit it to just one type of information, but you definitely have to tailor it to your expectation and what your audience would expect, and then put that face forward so that people understand who you are. The next tip to be thinking about, and again, it is kind of basically what we talk about when it comes to social media and every use. It's digital citizenship, and it's protecting your space. It's policing your space and not letting things happen in your area that are inappropriate. Now, how you deal with those things takes a wide range of possibilities. They look different across the board. Um, they may be as subtle as just talking to that person or sending them a quick note, hey, I don't appreciate that kind of content on my feed, to going out and actively blocking a person. One of my favorite tweets, which the tweet itself wasn't that meaningful, but the way it was delivered was great. The guy was badgering our local newspaper about coverage of his school's, his favorite school's sports team. And during a football game, he kept badgering about, this is biased coverage and you're not covering them effectively or professionally. And he was calling into question their credentials and their professionalism and tweeting them by name and direct tweeting them. And the reporter, after, several tweets in a row, he goes, and that's the block. And it was just a great way of delivering it. Sometimes you might have to get, kind of harsh with people. But you do need to protect your space, and you don't want things going on in your space that are inappropriate or reflect badly on you. That does mean that you do need to think in advance of how you will react. I don't think that you can have like a specific plan, if X happens, then Y, is your response. I think there's a lot of different things that can happen and different, severities and different shades of and variations of. But I definitely think that you need to be thinking in advance, what would I do if these things happen? And again, the more official your social outlet is, probably the more important this becomes. Along with social media, and the last thing to be thinking about, this is a statement that I use pretty regularly when it comes to digital citizenship, and it's leaving your social space in a better place than you found it. It's so important to not only just be on social media if you're going to do that, but it's also to use the social media and to put content out there for others. There's a lot of people that sometimes talk negatively about conservative talk radio, and I'm not here to justify or bash on them, but there's an easy answer to that. People that complain about conservative talk radio and how it just dominates the airwaves. There's a reason it dominates the airwaves, and that's because there's not an alternative. There's not other people out there doing something different. And if those opposing viewpoints want their voices heard, then they need to be out there. I have a person that I work with. They are on Twitter, but they almost never tweet. I mean, I think they have 10 tweets in 2 years or something. Very few followers, following very few people. I think, both of those numbers are in the tens or whatever. But I regularly get these comments from them that say, hey, that was a great article you posted the other night. Or so-and-so posted this information. That was really cool. You should have seen that. And I'm like, but why aren't you sharing that? that's a lurker. That's a person that's just out there and taking for themselves. And it's not that I need you to be using your media, your social media. I don't need that. I'm not saying that if you're going to get on, you've got to be doing a couple thousand tweets a year or something. But it's kind of a selfish use in that situation, that you're just taking stuff for yourself, but you're not giving it to others. You're not providing content for others. You're not, sharing it out through your network. You're not putting it out there for other people. You want to generate content that others can use and others can appreciate, and that furthers the conversation. The idea about social media is that it is connected. It's a great way for people to connect and engage with others around them. I think we've seen the power of social media, good and bad. But in schools, it's a very powerful tool, and I think that more people need to be using it. With a little forethought, little planning, a school could definitely make their social media use very effective and a tool that they can use to engage the conversation in their community. I look forward to hearing how you use social media and what some of your tips are to get started.